Bing bong.
This is the Dan Simpson Show.
We do it because it's right.
I love the dialectic.
His testicles became swollen.
Base.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Please clap.
Who's this man? This man in the hat. I'm gonna ruin this.
You're a stupid baby down, not me.
Yes, welcome in everyone. Hello, viewers. I am Dan Simpson. This is the Dan Simpson Show and my little chill chat show, Leftist and Chill, with my always based and never cringe guests like my guest today, Rosspublica. Before we introduce Ross, please support independent leftist content creation like this on Patreon, patreon.com/iDanSimpson. You will get early access to my Leftist and Chill interviews, and you get to support a good thing. So thank you for keeping the content alive. Let's introduce Rosspublica, intersectional leftist, a mod of my channel, and a good friend. Let's bring on Ross. Please clap. Please clap.
Please clap.
Yep, thank you. Hey, Ross. Welcome on, Ross.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
How's it going? How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be here. Like you said, I'm Ross from Rosspublica, commonly seen as a mod here in iDan's chat, and super excited to have been invited on today and talk to you.
Cool. I'm also excited for you to be here. Thank you for joining me. We're going to go ahead and dig into Democracy Now! We watch Democracy Now! And we've done that on my channel just about every day. Of course, they make content Monday through Friday, and that means I can't do it on the weekends, but I've done it, and I just sort of have been letting it play. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't feel good about that because what they're doing is uncritically parroting things like State Department propaganda, like literal, like CIA, like head of the CIA, other CIA assets and ops and stuff, like that. And they do it seemingly uncritically. Sometimes, at the very least, sometimes. Their best content, I would say, is when they bring on a guest. Okay, so absolutely. I don't know. How do you, anything you want to reply to that? Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, well, I think that as a community and you as a creator have gotten to the point where you can bring your own sort of media critique and analysis to what you're seeing. If you're just sort of looking at a really superficial level of what's happening, something like Democracy Now! Might work for you, but they're part of the manufacturing consent machine too, which is how they get access to the information that they're getting access to, which is why you have to be critical, because who benefits from the stories that they're telling?
Exact. Yes, Ross. That's it. 100%. I couldn't agree with that more. And it's just so disappointing in a way because, and I don't know who to be disappointed with, me or Amy, me or their crew, right? Because I used to look up to them and think that they were doing great work. And I don't know if you can hear my cat wailing in the background. She just wants attention. So yeah, I'm disappointed. You want to get into it? You want to watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull it up.
So let's get after it.
Go. Here it is. It's for today, May 2nd, 2022.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Mimi Goodman. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi became the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit Ukraine over the weekend. Her surprise trip came just days after...
Alrighty, they're jumping right into it.
After President Biden asked Congress for an additional $33 billion for Ukraine.
Respond to that, please, Ross. $33 billion.
We can end homelessness in the United States for 20 and just use that spare 11 to, expand healthcare to Americans. Just saying.
Thank you, Ross.
During a meeting with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Pelosi vowed the United States would keep backing Ukraine militarily, quote, until the fight is done.
Until the last Ukrainian.
We are visiting you to say thank you for your fight for freedom, that we are on a frontier of freedom, and that your fight is a fight for everyone. And so our commitment is to be there for you until the fight is done.
On Friday, the Pentagon confirmed U.S. troops are now training Ukrainian soldiers in Germany on the use of advanced weapons.
So they just said we'll continue to support this for as long as this goes on. You know what I mean? Is this the next Afghanistan?
I wonder what our, I'm sure, incredibly well-defined end goals are. What is winning?
Yeah.
In this instance, is it pushing Russia all the way back to its borders? Is it pushing Russia out of Crimea? What counts as a win in this this war that we're now backing Ukraine until the very end?
Exactly. Until the last Ukrainian, probably, right? As they say.
Probably.
33 billion. I'm just, can we just not?
Over the weekend, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said the U.S. and NATO should stop arming Ukraine if they're, quote, really interested in resolving the Ukraine crisis, unquote. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian government says about...
If I agree, they say I'm like a Putin apologist. I'm sort of exhausted with this whole fucking thing in that sense. But of course, it's not about me and my exhaustion.
Well, people that tend to understand politics through a prism of Harry Potter, Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, and like 90s rom-coms struggle to comprehend things like geopolitics and history and economy. It's tough.
But Ross, Putin is just like my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, that's rough. 15 ways to tell if your partner wants to invade your country.
100 civilians have been able to evacuate the besieged Azovstal steel.
Okay, so they're talking about the besieged Azovstal steel facility. Who's in there, Ross? Who are we to believe is in that steel facility other than the civilians?
Well, I was going to say, I know that there are an unnumbered amount of civilians there. From my understanding, the soldiers that are there are predominantly associated with the Azov battalion. Is that what I'm remembering?
I think so. And there's like, I think another 38th, maybe another group in there. But yeah, also the Azov guys. Yeah, and of course, media is just breathlessly painting these guys as heroes and
right. Yeah, zero critique of exactly who the Azov battalion is and what they represent. Yeah.
After the United Nations helped establish what it described as a safe passage operation. One evacuee said she's been staying inside a basement in the steel plant for 2 months after her home was destroyed.
We lived in the basement starting from the 27th of February. We didn't leave the basement because our house is in close proximity to Azovstal. The whole time we were shelled with mines, and then airstrikes started. Our house is completely destroyed. We have a 2-story building. It's not there anymore. It burned to the ground.
Hundreds more civilians and many fighters remain trapped at the steel plant in Mariupol, but Russia has reportedly resumed shelling the plant. This comes as the United Nations says the number of Ukrainians who fled the country has now topped 5.5 million.
Okay, and of course they say that I think they're serving U.S. imperialism in the sense that they fail to bring the context that, again, Ukrainian military, including Azov and others, are like in civilian areas, posting up there and using those places as their front to attack the Russian military, and because of that, you know, these civilian areas are drawing huge amounts of fire as the Russians shoot back. But you know what I mean? All they do is use this to go, hey, Russia bad, right?
And yeah, we were seeing, or we have been seeing, examples of Ukrainian soldiers using civilian infrastructure. There certainly is the framing as to whether or not these were people hiding from, or the civilians were hiding, or whether or not they were necessarily there of their own accord.
Right, there's questions there.
There are. Of course, I'm glad that the civilians are out of the way. If there's going to be fighting, it needs to be between the militaries. Ideally, they would stop fighting. I know that there had been an interview with one of the leaders there at the steel mill or foundry, and he was asking for interventions so that they could be removed.
Yeah, he's the guy who is shown in pictures next to an Azov guy, but we can't tell whether or not he's an Azov guy or if he's with the other group that's in there. And I'm sorry to interrupt.
Right.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, they're asking for rescue, I think.
They're asking for everything. They're asking for the whole kitchen sink. And NATO's more than happy to give it to them, I guess. I don't know. Best case scenario, they're just leaving these Azov guys out to dry. That'd be awesome. But of course, I don't necessarily buy the line that like Russia's there to like quote unquote denazify Ukraine.
No, and I wonder if the people that were in the steel mill, if they offered to surrender. I mean, it sounds as if they're concerned that they'll just be, slaughtered if they surrender, that they won't be treated with the kind of normal prisoner of war expectations. And of course, that's probably fed by some amount of media from what we've seen, however accurate that's been.
Okay, I'm going to do something that I don't really think I should do, but I'm going to do it anyways, okay? Fuck it. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Here it goes. Worst case scenario, those civilians are being held hostage, right? I think I do think, honestly, it's more likely they were being more like human shield type people. And now that they've lost those people, they don't have any negotiation strength. But they did just get that $33 billion. Do you think that's at all connected? I don't. Why am I asking? All right. Anyways, let's just keep watching.
In other developments, a Russian rocket attack has...
It is? I mean, come on, right? What do Nazis want? They want arms.
Tinfoil, red string.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing the thing.
Oh, yeah, way off there.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
I mean, they just got $33 billion of arms. That's like an unimaginable amount of money. But no, I really don't think it was that. I don't think so. Okay, let's just keep watching. I'm sorry to interrupt. If you do want me to pause, please feel free to throw a hand up or just start talking.
Okay.
Yeah, just that simple.
Destroyed an airfield in southern Ukraine. Meanwhile, a large fire broke out at a Russian military facility Sunday in the southern Belgorod region, which borders Ukraine. It's the latest incident suggesting Ukraine's carrying out attacks inside Russia. In other news from
really
Ukraine,
fascinating.
The Associated Press is reporting Ukrainian authorities have arrested hundreds of people accused of collaborating with the Russians. Ukraine is currently under martial law, which gives authorities the power to detain anyone without a court order for 30 days. The AP reports nearly 400 people have been detained in the Kharkiv region alone.
I wonder...
AP has video of it happening. Do you want to see it, Ross?
Yeah.
All right, so this is something that popped up in my Reddit feed yesterday, and my jaw hit the floor immediately. Fascinating video of SBU arresting Russian sympathizers. I believe this is like secret Ukrainian police, right? Okay, and then everyone in the comments is like, "Yeah, get them." I'm like, what? Here we go. What? Pause it. Let me know if you need me to pause it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. This is filmed by the AP. Ukraine hunts down traitors helping Russia. They're like in the hallway. My like heart is pounding. Ukrainian security services in the northeastern city of Kharkiv are moving to arrest a man suspected of collaborating with Russia. How? Look at this guy. He's got to be terrified, right? Working with Russian forces or publicly denying the invasion can result in stiff prison sentences. You guys, this is what they call like thought crimes. You've made thoughts criminalized, right? Is this the sign of a free society?
Yeah, obviously, if you're fighting a war and whether the narrative that you're promoting is accurate or has a motivation behind it, dissent to that message is a problem if you're trying to maintain what is an authoritarian hold, which is martial law. So it's not just about controlling the physical area of the country, but it's also about controlling the information within that country. It's often a core component of when martial law ends up being used to enact that sort of long-term control. The SBU is the Secret Service of Ukraine.
Okay.
They are sort of like the CIA and FBI and Department of Homeland Security rolled into one.
Yikes. So, sounds bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their federal law enforcement / anti-terrorism special forces, run-of-the-mill police force.
Yeah. So obviously some people are watching this. So they may be watching. I hope they do. Maybe a couple people. And they're watching this and they're saying to themselves, but Ross, but Dan, their country's being invaded by Russia. I just don't know what to say. I don't know how else to keep replying to that. What do we say? What do you say to that? If someone's in chat thinking that right now.
I mean, the idea that I guess it would be like if we were locking up people for spreading like anti-vax information on Facebook.
Locking them up.
Yeah.
Just regular people, not like right. Leaders, right? Okay, yeah.
Right, like my aunt, for instance. If my aunt, she was spreading anti-vax stuff, and maybe she should be arrested for other reasons, but not necessarily for being misguided, misled, or for expressing her opinion, even if it's harmful or deemed harmful.
Yeah.
In this case, it was harmful because, vaccine's good. Get your shots.
Right. But of course, she's just your aunt. She's just a lady on Facebook instead of some lady running a country or deciding vaccine policy or whatever. In which case, I don't know, we might be making a different argument. Anyways, okay. All right, yeah, and obviously that would be bad. That's like arresting regular people for thought crimes. And that is not the sign of a free society, of a democratic society. Democratic, and I'm tying free speech. Okay. Okay, so let's keep watching. This is terrifying. This man's being arrested because of social media posts praising the Russian president, calling for secession, and insulting the Ukrainian flag. So this sounds like somebody who's probably, I don't know. They said Kharkiv. So Kharkiv is, yes, Ross. Yeah, so the eastern, I'm not 100% sure if that's Donbass, to be quite honest. However, you could assume perhaps ethnic Russian. Is that like not a far-fetched guess, Ross? These folks that were looking at being tortured here, right?
Yeah. I mean, given the region, it's incredibly likely that he's sympathetic to Russia.
Yeah, calling for secession, aka he supports the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who also do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And insulting the Ukrainian flag? Oh my God, won't someone think of the flag's feelings?
Well, you know how people there are people who care about flags a lot.
Well, are you talking shit about me? I'm a vexillologist. I'm in it to make my brain bigger. All right? They're in it because they
you kind of appreciate the culture. You're like a flag culture appropriator.
Yeah, I'm into the flag culture war.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's keep watching. We're 30 seconds in. That's all. So he's just got like memes and posts and Putin. He says, yes, I support it, but now I don't. I support it a lot, he says. Are you supporting the Russian army? He's asked. You supported Putin? You're not speaking very nicely about the Ukrainian flag, are you? I'm sorry I have to read this out. He says, I'm sorry. I commented a lot. Yes, I told you. I changed my mind, he says. These guys got fucking guns. And they're talking to you about your thoughts. Like, what are you going to do?
This is about...
Yeah.
It's about chilling the expression of, free expression.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously going above and beyond and then taking the time to publicize it to scare other people into not expressing themselves. Depending on however you feel about what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's pretty normal for authoritarian regimes cracking down on free expression.
Okay. You keep saying I changed my mind. They asked today after our visit right now you changed your mind? Yeah, I guess. Look at this. Look at this fucking dude, right?
Yeah, under the threat of violence.
Yeah, it's implicit.
Do you still feel the same way?
It's 100% implicit. And they say they've taken away thousands or hundreds. I don't want to do misinformation, obviously. So I can't remember. I think I heard them say something like 400. Amy Blamey Badman. But again, like, where are they getting these numbers? We're supposed to trust them? Are the numbers coming from the secret Ukrainian police themselves? Okay, let's keep going. Get your things and get dressed. They're taking them. All will be in accordance with Ukrainian law. Well, that's the scary part. Just yeeted the cat. Please don't hurt him. No, everything's according to the law. This is according to their law, and that's another scary part. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right.
Are we sure this isn't the last time we see this guy? No, we're not. That's the thing. Roman Dudin. I don't know this guy. Head of Kharkiv Branch Security Service. This guy looks sus as fuck, I'm not gonna lie. But again, I don't know him. He says our armed forces move quickly. Our key goals is no one stabs them in the back. You're listening to Vladimir Zelensky on the radio tomorrow or the day after. Wait, sorry, I'm trying to catch up. Our collaborators will be brought to justice, he says. Holy shit. Tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, that doesn't matter. Imagine like someone invades the United States and I'm like not speaking favorably about the United States at that time. What, right? And then they come and get me, right?
Oh yeah, no, they're coming for your ass.
I'm fucking nervous, dude. The main thing is that justice is inevitable. I mean, the day after loyalty days on all days, right?
About law and order.
Sorry, go ahead. Go say that again. I was talking over you.
Right-wing authoritarians love talking about law and order and reestablishing, peace and, yeah, that's kind of scary. Little scary rhetoric.
It's very scary. Oh, and I was saying the day after loyalty day of all days, right? How dare they? Where's your loyalty, son? All right,
I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
For 8.5 years, and I'll tell you what: if anybody had ever wished me a happy loyalty day, I would have assumed that they were like a foreign intelligence agent who had like been only partially informed on our history.
Yeah.
Or an officer that had graduated from the academy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was allegedly yesterday was loyalty day. I could not believe it when I heard it.
Never heard of loyalty day.
Loyalty day. All right, hello, don't move. Where's your son? They're asking. They're going for another person? I don't think I watched this whole video. Am I sure there's no TOS? See if there are any Russian symbols. They're looking for Russian symbols.
Just people writing in the language.
Maybe, or maybe they're talking about the Z or the other thing. You don't know.
Maybe a flag, something old that's like Soviet related, probably.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Anything with Putin on it.
Yeah. They asked, what's the problem? There's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Oh, I'm fucking worried, buddy. At some point, your son panicked and behaved aggressively, understand? This is about their son. This isn't even about them. So, Ross, who do you got here? This big floof. Look at the cloud. Look at this little adorable smoke cloud monster. Sweetie Pie. Thank you for showing cat. What is Sweetie Pie? My cat was just demanding my attention. I couldn't get anything done. Can you still hear me, bud? Amazing.
Winston.
That's Winston, a void cat. That's Winston. Adorable. Did you catch that last bit? By the way, adorable cat. What a sweetie pie. Did you catch that last bit? They're asking about their son. Their son, they said, panicked and acted aggressively. And then they come and they're like looking in their house for Russian symbols. That's fucked up, man. Okay, let's go on.
Guilty by association.
Right? That's really scary shit. Like, who did this historically? I can't think of anybody, but maybe someone in chat can help me remember. The person was arrested after the shelling. He was filming everything on a video camera during an attempt to make contact. He acted suspiciously and caught her attention. They were just videoing, and then they're like raiding their parents' house.
Yeah, he ran because they knew that they were coming after people who were filming or gathering information.
Right?
Of course he ran.
Yeah.
That's the well, why did he run argument that cops use when they shoot people that are unarmed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, because cops shoot people that are unarmed. It's why you run.
I know. You run for your life, right? And who are these guys? Like, are they Nazis? Are they Nazi adjacent? Are they okay with Nazis? I don't know, right? All right, when we searched his phone, we found photos and contacts with the enemy? What does that mean? This is sus as fuck. With his actions, he put not only us, the military, in danger, but also civilians. Ow.
Sure. Presumably, if you're taking pictures or video of their positions, you could be transmitting information to the enemy that they could use for planning or targeting, whatever. They're really cracking down with any excuse. That's some Patriot Act level exploitation of statutes.
Pretty awful here. Father of suspected collaborator. I asked him, so who is shelling us? It's not our people, it's your fascists, and he just gets angry about that. Do you understand? That's all. Wait, what's he saying? Can you make sense of that?
It sounds like he's saying that the Ukrainians are the ones that were shelling Kharkiv.
Didn't we see evidence of that?
Well, I think probably since because 2014, the Ukrainian military been shelling the Donbass area. That's why there's 14,000 casualties before Russia even invaded.
Mm-hmm. All right, maybe that's what he's referring to. It's hard to tell exactly. Let's continue. He likes them. He was in Yakutia serving the army. He is used to thinking that Russia is all there is.
I'm not familiar with that term.
He will be cured, they're saying. Cured.
He's going to be re-educated.
Pretty much. Okay. What an amazing 4 minutes of video from the AP.
Yakutia is it's a republic of Russia in the far east. So looks like he was probably an ethnic Russian, believed in probably some sort of greater Russia.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be a way of just saying he's like a country boy who doesn't know any better, but without all the context, it's hard to say.
Exactly. All right. With now we can get back to Democracy Now! After showing that context is not presented by Democracy Now! They just sort of mention that there's martial law and some people have been arrested, but they really don't help you understand what's actually going on down on the ground. And I think that's a failure of their reporting.
They're they're just doing a little police state.
Right. I can't wait to juxtapose this with later in the episode. Check this out later.
Dozens of pro-Russian activists have also been detained in Kyiv.
Oh, look at that. Dozen of pro. So check that out.
Republican Congressmember Adam Kinzinger has
dozens of pro-Russians in Kyiv. That's further west, further west in the country from where we were just looking in Kharkiv. That's the capital, right? Okay. This is just something to make note of. Okay.
Introduced a joint resolution to give President Biden congressional authority to send U.S. troops to fight in Ukraine if Russia deploys chemical, biological, or nuclear weapons.
Right. Like WMDs? Am I right? Anybody? Am I right? Is this thing on? Right?
Kinzinger unveiled his plan during an interview on CBS's Face the Nation.
I don't think we need to be using force in Ukraine right now. I just introduced an AUMF, an authorization for the use of military force, giving the president basically congressional leverage or permission to use it if WMDs, nuclear, biological, or chemical, are used in Ukraine.
Literally said WMDs.
Could you not?
He literally just said, he gave away the game. I honestly, I saw that before, but I didn't realize how obscene it was.
It's going to be another Afghanistan.
I'm really scared that that's what they're winding up for, and they're giving us every indication it will be.
I mean, Hillary Clinton told us.
She said it's the model people are looking towards. How long do you think we'll be in Ukraine?
Are you...
Sorry.
I have no
I mean, who
idea.
cares?
I don't even want to speculate.
Yeah, right. There's no winning. this, but who knows, folks? They were in Ukraine 20 years.
Well, that actually provides some context for a other video I saw where the Army was offering recruiting bonuses for 4 jobs: truck driver, EOD specialist, which is explosive ordnance disposal, kind of a laundry / hygiene specialists, and mortuary specialists.
Mortuary?
Unfortunately, all of those jobs are related. If you want to know how, I can tell you.
Bodies?
Truck driver was one of the most dangerous jobs in Afghanistan because of roadside bombs, which is why you would need the EODs to address that. Mortuary specialists kind of go over the battlefield and mass casualty events.
Mortuary? What's a mortuary? What do they do? I'm sorry. I don't even know. That's like putting off some. I think I might know what that is, but I have no idea. Can you help me? I'm being stupid right now, unintentionally, not intentionally. Funeral home or morgue, yeah.
Battlefields.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
bodies.
Bodies. It's going through battlefields and war zones and putting together the bodies afterwards. And then laundry / hygiene specialists. Somebody has to do all that laundry from the hospitals, from the people being wounded, and from the hospital bed sheets and stuff. So somebody has to wash all those sheets. Yeah, and so the Army right now is offering sign-on bonuses for those jobs. I had wondered why. I had kind of assumed it was going to be because of Ukraine. That makes a lot more sense now, given the authorization of use of military force.
Okay. Was anyone looking for a job? It's not funny. Don't encourage this. Don't laugh.
I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of people joined up because of the benefits and the bonuses.
Oh, gosh. War's a racket. I'm tired of this shit. It's never getting old. Luckily, we learned from what happened in Afghanistan. Just kidding. Let's keep watching Blamey Badman. I just can't. I'm so sick of this. Come on, dude. Who designed this shitty place? Bad people, that's who. All right, Blamey, keep giving it to us.
Ukrainian journalist died Thursday in Kiev in a Russian missile strike on the apartment building where she lived. The journalist, Vera Hirich, worked for the U.S.-funded outlet Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty.
That's not funny. I'm not smiling because somebody died.
Dude, the most... If you're putting the pieces together... She's likely a CIA asset, if not an op, getting paid by the CIA.
Yeah.
Doing the U.S. imperialisms. Getting communists murdered all over the world. The same shit every time. We got a raid from Willy Bonga. Thank you, Raiders. I'm talking to Rosspublica today, and we're watching Democracy Now! If you're with me, make sure you follow Willy Bonga. You're going to like the content, I think. Raiders, welcome in. I got to get right back to this. This is some really, I've got tons of alarm bells going off when I heard this today. What else do you think about it?
Well, so first of all, Russia targeting civilian infrastructure, like an apartment building, bad.
Of course.
Don't do that, especially to target a specific individual. That's just.
If that's what happened, oh my God.
The whole thing is immoral. That's extra immoral.
Yes.
But also,
100%.
Yeah, that's CIA though.
I think so, right? We've got, sort of have every reason to believe it. So at this point, okay, let's keep watching.
According to Ukrainian authorities, she's the 23rd known member of the media to be killed since Russia launched its invasion. Meanwhile, a former U.S.
Yikes.
Marine has died while fighting alongside Ukrainian forces.
Another, a U.S. Say that again, Amy, for the people in the back. This one's just wild.
A former U.S. Marine has died while fighting
Former U.S. Marine has died
alongside Ukrainian forces.
while fighting alongside Ukrainian forces. How many times do you think we're going to hear this until they use stories like this as, consent or whatever to put, less. They're gonna be less shy. They're gonna actually officially put boots on the ground. What do you think? Right?
I mean, if that AUMF gets approved, then Biden will be able to do that.
What's the what?
The AUMF.
The 33 billion. I'm sorry.
No, the
sorry.
the AUMF that either the Republican House or Senate guy who put in an authorization of use of military force that would let Biden unilaterally take us into war.
Sorry, Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah, no, not it. So what he submitted would allow Biden to just do what he wants in Ukraine.
Pretty much, they'd be able to say, weapons of mass destruction, let's go.
Yep.
Just like they did last time, and they got away with it. And now we know why they got away with it, because everyone else wants to use that as their tool when it's their turn to do the global hegemony moves.
Or, we just had an advisory force there, and they blew up the building with a missile strike and killed 40 American advisors. Now we have to go in.
Wait, what's that in reference to?
I'm saying that's the way that sort of escalation happens.
Yeah. Okay. How that escalation in rhetoric and media manipulation.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand. Very good. I was just trying to follow you. Let's keep talking about Willie Cancel. He got canceled?
Contractor. The name of the company's not been released.
Okay, so that also tells us that we have contractors.
Of course we do.
We have I've been talking about having CIA groups on the ground. These are the guys that I'm talking about, like contractors, like private Pinkertons. This is really scary shit.
What is it? The guy that used to own BlackRock. Or no, what was the name of the private military corporation that got into a bunch of trouble, and her brother's Betsy DeVos, or his sister's Betsy DeVos?
Securitas, is it the one with the two dots, or Blackwater? Blackwater.
Yeah, it used to be Blackwater, now it's something else. Yeah. Those contractors.
Google Blackwater. All right, let's keep going. I can't believe this.
European Union.
And she doesn't say anything about it. Now, here's the thing. She's doing the headlines, and she literally doesn't do much of that. But why does she allow herself to do this day after day? I couldn't listen to her do it day after day after day uncritically. I had to step in and start saying something. I can't understand. How does she probably sleeps really well at night. That's why. She's doing the manufacturing of consent. She's probably well paid. All right. I have no idea how well paid she is, to be honest. Anyone have any info on that? Either way.
Ministers are holding emergency talks today about a proposal to ban the import of Russian oil by the end of the year. Hungary's threatened to veto the measure. This comes as big oil is reporting significant profits as the war in Ukraine disrupts global energy markets. Over the first 3 months of the year, Chevron reported $6.3 billion in profits. ExxonMobil reported $5.5 billion in profits. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has criticized how fossil fuel companies are responding to the war. In a tweet, he wrote, quote, "Fossil fuel interests are now cynically using the war in Ukraine to try to lock in a high-carbon future. A shift to renewables is crucial to mending our broken global energy mix and offering hope to millions suffering climate impacts today." In Afghanistan, a powerful explosion ripped through.
You had a thought? Looks like you got some.
As far as climate change goes, Unless the United States Department of Defense and every industry supporting it immediately repurposes for addressing climate change and like doing remediation and like starting to shift what's going to be affected populations, you can recycle all you want. It's not going to matter.
Yeah.
The amount of pollution and waste that's generated daily by the Department of Defense is obscene. If you knew just the amount that I was responsible for, it's awful.
Can you talk about that? Can you give us a little anecdote?
Yeah, this is just a small one.
Please.
Squadrons are part of wings. It's just like an organizational thing. Military squadron will have multiple aircraft, and there's a fuel allotment. And if you don't, it's what's called a use or lose budget. If you don't use all of the fuel, then when they go and do the budgeting the next time around, they'll say, oh, apparently you didn't need as much, so we're not going to give you as much. Now, what happens at the end of that fiscal period is if you have extra fuel, you need to figure out a way to get rid of it. So what they do is they'll schedule an aircraft for a flight, a specific kind of training mission that relies on a specific kind of technology that is known to have a fault on the aircraft. And they're going to put it out there for troubleshooting. They're going to load up the aircraft with a full load of fuel and send it out. Now, while it's out flying, it'll have a fault. And because it's a fault, it can't complete the training mission as scheduled. So it has to come back for troubleshooting. The problem is, aircraft are designed to take off heavier than they land. The presumption is you're going to burn fuel. So, because you can't do what's called an overweight landing without additional maintenance and inspections, you have to dump fuel below a certain amount so that you can safely land.
Oh my God.
Every fiscal period, every squadron, every wing across the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and the Marines likely still engaging in this practice. I know that we were still doing it in 2012 when I got out. And we're talking about, thousands and thousands of gallons of fuel being dumped over the ocean, open ocean. Like, we can talk about Red Hill in Hawaii, but the Department of Defense is literally just dumping fuel in the ocean.
Okay. Yeah.
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 This is fine.
This is fine. Okay. That's the worst thing in the world. Thanks for sharing. Let's keep watching. We're not even halfway through, Ross. Are you doing okay on time?
Yeah. No,
Awesome.
no. I'll talk about the awful stuff the United States does all day long.
Oh yeah, it's my jam.
Sufi Mosque in Kabul Friday in a
the
latest
best at bad
attack on
things.
civilians during the month of Ramadan. The blast caused the mosque's roof to cave in on worshippers.
Oh my God, dude.
The confirmed death toll is 10, but some officials say 50 people may have died in the
Where?
blast. Some 200,000 Palestinian worshippers gathered at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in occupied East Jerusalem to mark Eid. Over the past month, Israeli authorities have repeatedly raided the mosque. At least 42 Palestinians were injured Friday. Meanwhile, Israel's conducted a number of raids in the occupied West Bank after the killing of a guard at an illegal Jewish settlement. The Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade claimed
See, they do a good job with Palestine, right? So you gotta give them good marks when they deserve it. But Amy Goodman, that's the name of someone I went to school with. Amy Goodman and their crew seems to shit the bed on a lot of other things, right?
Yeah, I guess there's a status quo with Israel and Palestine where the narrative is, I guess, like the world's just willing to accept it, or at least the West is. as awful as it is, you know, and as hypocritical as it is, it seems like Americans just don't care as much if the victims are brown.
It's just curious to me that she seems to get the analysis right on Palestine, but not a place like Ukraine. I just can't explain it. I'm not quite sure, to be honest.
Responsibility for the shooting. 2 suspects were arrested. Israeli authorities also fatally shot a young Palestinian man in the back during a raid in the West Bank town of Azun. Millions of protesters took to the streets of cities and towns around the world Sunday to mark May Day, or International Workers' Day. In France, tens of thousands marched through Paris, warning newly re-elected President Emmanuel Macron against rolling back workers' rights. Unions say they're prepared to strike if Macron presses ahead with plans to slash unemployment and pension benefits.
Oh my God, there's Mario. Look at Mario over here. Where's Luigi? Look at this outfit.
Raising the age of retirement from 62 to 65.
Love it.
That's pretty base. You love to see it.
Macron has just been re-elected, but he was re-elected to stop the far right. Yes, but not for his program. And so today I think it is important to show Macron and the rest of the political world that we are ready to protest to defend our social rights, defend what we stand for, defend minorities, minimum wages, retirement age at 60, and many other things.
In Turkey, police arrested more than 160 people Sunday after protesters ignored a ban on protest in Istanbul's main Taksim Square. In Chile, 3 people were wounded by gunfire at a May Day rally in the capital Santiago after vigilante street vendors opened fire on the May Day protesters. Elsewhere in Santiago, thousands marched to celebrate a 12.5% increase in the minimum wage approved by the newly elected government of the socialist president Gabriel Boric.
All right, so 3 stories there, 2 of them including a crackdown on free speech. And also libs, if I reflect a little bit more on this, they were super mad when the war was breaking out in Ukraine and all of the protesters in Russia were getting swept up, which of course is bad. We should allow protests and free speech, you know. But, you know, when the Ukrainian secret police is doing it, they don't seem to have anything to say about it.
Yeah, I'm interested what's going on in those countries. Why there was a crackdown, or the street vendors shooting at people protesting. Those, I mean, each of those is probably a significant deep dive.
Right. Exactly. Maybe we can do that someday.
I mean, governments are, by their nature, you know, somewhat authoritarian. They're not on the leftists' side. But yeah, no, each of those, it's very interesting.
You got some Chilean leadership, Boric. You'll love to see it. All right, let's continue.
In Buenos Aires, thousands of protesters marched to demand a reversal of austerity measures. Argentina recently agreed to
reversal of neoliberalism. You love to see it. What is that red and black flag?
Exchange for a bailout from the IMF. Here in the United States,
I can't tell what that flag was.
It's hundreds of May Day protesters marched to Milwaukee, Wisconsin in support of immigrant workers. Protesters organized 2 days without
you can't march an American flag with a Palestinian flag. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's confusing.
This Palestinian flag with the Ukrainian flag? No. That ain't it.
Immigrants calling on Republican lawmakers to stop blocking immigration reform and demanding President Biden use his executive powers to protect all immigrants. In Sri Lanka, opposition parties ended a week-long march to the capital, Colombo, on May Day, with thousands of protesters demanding relief from a devastating economic crisis and calling on President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to resign.
They got a really unique flag, but I don't know what this green and yellow one is.
For months, Sri Lanka's faced dire shortages of food, fuel, and medicine amidst mounting foreign debt and government corruption. On Friday, President Rajapaksa agreed to remove his older brother as prime minister as part of a plan to form an interim government made up of all parties in parliament. The leader of Sri Lanka's main opposition party rejected the plan as insufficient.
The country can't be rescued by making deals with thieves. I would like to tell you all that we have taken a decision not to make any deals with a government of thieves or their partners.
In the state of Georgia, prosecutors in Fulton County are moving ahead with convening a special grand jury to consider whether Donald Trump should be criminally charged for his efforts to pressure Georgia's Secretary of State and other officials to overturn the 2020 election. Jury selection begins today.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, in New York,
Say what? They're going to have a trial? Is he?
So, like, I think they said it was going to be a grand jury trial. So there'll be maybe impaneled jury or something, but I think to figure out if they can charge him criminally.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to this is the Sri Lankan flag. I don't know what that other one was though. And they do have a really unique flag. It's like long. It's like a long flag. This is how they fly it. It's a really unique flag. It's cool. I rate it 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. All right. A grand jury. I'm so sorry. You said a grand jury.
Some sort of dragon dog with a sword out of 10.
Always.
New York, a grand jury looking into Trump's business practices has wrapped up without bringing charges against the former president.
Oh, that's boring.
The Biden administration has sued the state of Alabama, seeking to block a new law barring gender-affirming medicine for transgender youth while making it a felony to provide such care. In a court filing Friday, the Justice Department argues the ban violates the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees equal protection under the law. It's the first time the administration sued to stop state restrictions on gender-affirming care, and comes as Republican-controlled state legislatures are set to break records for the number of new anti-LGBTQ plus bills introduced across the United States.
Okay. It's a bit promising.
Yeah.
Not always entirely the worst.
Biden did a good.
Biden did a good. Here's the thing. Democracy Now! Productions. Let's check it out. Take a look. They're tax exempt. Oh, that would be sweet. Woof. They pull in 10 mil. And then they spend about 8 million? What are they, net income? What does that go to? Who's getting that money? Stays in house? Okay, let's see here. Amy Goodman makes $200K a year? Damn, dude. Shit. I could. They're actually hiring too. I noticed they're hiring I don't know. Maybe it's right up your alley, Russ. But yeah. Okay. Would you any thoughts on that?
There's that 5 to 7 minute long manufacturing consent video that Al Jazeera did that Amy Goodman narrates. That she really just needs to watch again.
Yep.
And then
it's one of my
look
favorites.
in the mirror.
She narrates this. I don't know if she wrote it though. My thing is, my fear is that she didn't write it. She just someone wrote it for her, and so she just came in and did the voiceover and just ran off. Oh, I'm just so disappointed. Where does she live? I think they do the show in New York City, and I think she's there too. I could be wrong about
Amy, watch the video.
Rewatch it. All right,
look in the mirror. Think about it.
We've watched that so many times. I'm not going to pull that up today. Okay, back to the headlines here.
In Florida, 3 prison guards have been charged with.
I think someone said that she's got a net worth of $3 million, which isn't a ton, but it's a lot. It's also a lot.
I wonder if that impacts her class interests.
Yes, maybe.
Murder for the beating death of a handcuffed man who was being moved from a prison's mental health unit. Authorities accused the guards of beating the man even though he was in handcuffs and being compliant. In a statement, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said, quote, the inmate was beaten so badly he had to be carried to the transport van, unquote. Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle announced the charges.
Misconduct, abuse, or criminal behavior have no place in Florida's correctional system. Individuals who are sentenced to incarceration by our criminal courts, they have lost their freedom, but not their basic rights.
New government data shows the FBI conducted at least 3.4 million searches of private electronic data from Americans last year without a warrant.
I love this video. Someone's just doing some CSS styling for some front-end web development. They're talking about like the FBI like surveilling us, and they're just showing us front-end web dev. Hacker man's, yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, good old unwarranted wiretaps and
yeah, that too. It's just great. Well, luckily we have freedom, Ross.
That's triple the number from the previous.
You better. You better. Yeah, blink once if you feel free. I love the B-roll that they used for this story. It's hilarious.
The Office of the Director of National Intelligence released the data Friday, which showed how many times the FBI submitted queries to a database of emails, texts, and other electronic domestic communications. It's unclear how many individuals were spied on.
All of them.
In New York State, charges have been dismissed against two longtime peace activists who were arrested in 2019 for blocking the entrance to Hancock Air Force Base to protest the U.S. drone war program.
AKA, if you protest the drone program, we'll make your life hell for 3 years. Yeah. By the way, these people are all based and very good, and I wish I could do something like that. I just can't afford to go to prison, jail.
Over the last 13 years, about 150 peace activists have been arrested in actions outside the base as part of a campaign organized by the Upstate Drone Action Coalition.
Doesn't sound good.
The longtime Cuban diplomat, Ricardo Alarcón, has died at the age of 84. He was a student leader during the Cuban Revolution who eventually became Cuba's foreign minister and president of Cuba's National Assembly. He played a key role in talks between the United States and Cuba for many years. I spoke to him in 2015 after the Cuban embassy reopened in Washington for the first time in 54 years.
Right? She does a good job on Cuba. She does a good job on Palestine. She messes up on others.
Can we end the embargo and sanctions on Cuba?
Yeah.
Please? Maybe?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Can the U.S. stop being a bunch of bitter, just whiny, sad, just pathetic? Just move on.
Seriously.
Move on. Take the L.
Yeah. I mean, détente, like step the fuck off, back off on these sanctions. Like the United States acts like a very fragile god. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's the worst. Yeah.
That brought about this result was the struggle of the peoples. First of all, the Cuban people, for having resisted for so long time all the odds that U.S. policy imposed upon us, but also a victory for the rest, the resistance of the rest of the peoples in this hemisphere, including many, many American friends.
Ricardo Alarcón speaking in 2015. He died on May Day, on Sunday. And the longtime prison activist and educator Kathy Boudin has died at the age of 78. Boudin was a former member of the Weather Underground who was jailed in 1981, along with her then-husband David Gilbert, in connection with an armed car robbery carried out by the Black Liberation Army in Rockland County, New York, that left a security guard and 2 police officers dead. She served...
Wow. Do you remember do you see the video of Fred Hampton talking about the Weather Underground? called them, I think, muddleheads and custoristic. I'll never get over that.
22 years
But
in
that's pretty
prison,
based.
where she helped create programs for women who are infected with HIV. She was freed on parole in 2003 and spent the last 2 decades organizing to fight mass incarceration and to help people, especially women, returning from prison.
Wow.
Kathy Boudin was the co-director and co-founder of the Center for Justice at Columbia University. This is her speaking at New York University School of Law in 2013.
If we could get under the stereotypes and the stigma that are attached to people who have committed violent crimes and be able to see the person underneath it and understand that holding them in prison has nothing to do with them being a public risk, nothing to do with whether they've transformed themselves, nothing to do with the community that they can serve. If we can get under that and know that they're being kept in only for the purpose of punishment, then maybe we can look at the entire system and be able to change it.
Kathy Boudin speaking in 2013. Her death comes just months after her ex-husband, David Gilbert, was released from prison in New York. Their son, Chesa Boudin, has served as the district attorney of San Francisco since 2020.
We've seen him.
And those are some of the headlines. This is
Seen him do
Democracy Now!,
something.
democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report.
Amy Goodman. Okay, that was it. I think that was an especially bad one. Some good, that's the thing. You got to take the good with the bad. They did some good Palestine, good Cuba, but then some other. I think.
Foreign
I think they were also helping to build consent for the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, and I think, like you often say, being able to critically read the media, and it's not necessarily that there's no media without bias. You just need to understand what the bias is, and sometimes dig a little deeper than the headlines, because there is information under there.
And of course, that's what she does for the rest of her program.
Right. Yeah. Just sometimes, yeah, you just need to know what the bias is, and that helps. And then, doing a little bit of historical analysis yourself, because sometimes their framing's not always accurate, true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's easier said than done, because that shit's hard. I've been like chugging away for the past, I think, I would say at least the past year, doing this almost every day. It's hard, and I'm still I feel like I'm still beginning to get it my head wrapped around some of these things. So
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Ross, this has gone on for longer than an hour. I really enjoy this segment. This is sort of like a new format that I've been toying with. Having someone with me as I go over the news gives us a chance to talk about a lot of different things, and it's just valuable to have other voices on my stream as well. It's never been about just my voice, but the challenge is getting more people in here. Okay, Ross.
Well, and there's nothing I love more than the sound of my own voice.
That's good. You're meant for streaming. You should do podcasts. Ross, I want to give you a chance before we let you go to tell people, what you do, where they can find you doing it, and how they can support your work.
Yep. Hey, I'm Rosspublica. I don't really stream very often. I need to rebuild my OBS, but nonetheless, here I am trying to provide value in the various chats that I'm in, bringing a little material analysis and historical perspective, and bringing some memes. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to come on and talk to Dan for a while, so I really appreciate you bringing me on.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me, Ross. This was a blast and a pleasure. The pleasure was all mine. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks so much. Have a really wonderful day. Peace out, Ross.
Thanks.
All right. Next
Bye,
time,
buddy.
Let's do this again sometime soon. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. That's the clip. Thank you, patrons. Love your face.
Mm-hmm.